Hello and welcome to Beyond the Bio. This week, I am delighted to be joined by Paul Fernandez, business strategist, performance marketing expert, and founder of The Growth Guys. Paul and I had a brilliant conversation about all sorts of things that you can use to raise your profile. We talked about LinkedIn, which you all know that I love, and as well the benefits of speaking at events, all the different things that will bring, including network opportunities. So let's get stuck in. Welcome to Beyond the Bio, Paul.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So you have become a bit of an accidental entrepreneur, probably similar to me, in that you had a job and then you ended up setting up a business. How would you describe your personal brand when you were in a business versus having your own?
It's funny, actually, because I was quite early to adopt LinkedIn within my sort of business. Like, you know, I was using LinkedIn from around sort of like 2015 maybe, but never really serious enough. But in terms of my personal brand, I used to just share what I was doing at work. It was never really about me. It was about what the company was doing, or you know, job hunting, I guess. Yeah. You know, a big part of it. Which is
what LinkedIn was for.
It was, yeah. It was that major job platform, wasn't it? But yeah, I don't think I really had or really gave personal brand much of a thought until I became a business owner. Yeah. Because it was purely, you know, I kind of caught on to the fact that, you know, visibility was kind of important for sales.
So how long have you had your business?
It'll be 6 years now.
6 years.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we formed in October 2019, unofficially, and then officially in April 2020. So literally just at the break of COVID.
Excellent. Great time to start a business.
Do you know what it was? It was a great time. Being, you know, we're growth marketers. We do a lot of advertising as well. And every man and his dog wanted to get online. Yeah. So, you know, it was quite hard, especially early in the business, because we worked with a lot of e-com brands that they were fairly straightforward, you know, just sell more product online because we can't do it in our physical stores. But we were working quite closely, sort of like a year into the business, quite closely with Dent and Daniel Priestley. So we were working with quite a lot of corporates and lifestyle businesses, B2B style businesses as well. And so we kind of shifted our model slightly to adapt in that ecosystem a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, since then we've oh God, it's hard looking back on it, actually, because I don't think you take enough time to stop and reflect on what you've done. But we worked with Team GB last year. Amazing. And that was incredible, real eye opener as well. And, you know, pat ourselves on the back. We smashed it. Like, it was absolutely amazing. It was great. But we were working in conjunction with some amazing people. Yeah. You know, it really was, you know, never mind the pun, like, it really was a team effort. You know, we were sitting in on meetings with Adidas and Ted Baker and, you know, the Olympic Committee and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was insane.
And do you talk about those kind of things on the likes of LinkedIn? Yeah,
we've mentioned it. We were actually sort of like squashed a little bit. We had to get approval we had to go through sort of quite a few hoops of approval to even talk about it.
So was that from the client?
Yeah. Right. So we were going through a partner with Team GB. So we were with a 3PL style, like third party logistics company who would handle fulfillment and distribution, and that's how we got the client through them. And it was like, can we talk about this? It's like, probably not yet. And then it was not yet. Oh, the Olympics is over.
So now you can.
Damn it, we've missed our window. So we were really it was quite frustrating, but because we hired actually a PR freelancer to help us craft the story, and you know, we were going to try and put it out into news outlets and things, and just never really got that opportunity because there was too many rules and regs.
That is a frustration. Yeah. So thinking about LinkedIn when you were using it before versus how you're using it now, how has that changed?
I use it purely as an influential platform. Like it's there for sharing ideas. It's there for connecting. It's there for testing messaging, selling products. You know, I've made friends through LinkedIn, so it's there for growing network, and it's just been an absolute game changer for our business. Like in terms of,
and is that you guys posting as individuals or the company or a bit of both?
Me, really. Like,
and how often are you posting?
2 to 3 times a week.
That's good.
Pretty consistently.
Good, consistent. Yeah.
I was probably quite early to the video game as well.
Nice.
Because, you know, obviously everyone was making a play for Instagram Reels, and, you know, video wasn't being used massively by everyone on LinkedIn. And actually someone who inspired me, and he probably doesn't know this, but there's a guy called Chris James over in Manchester. Content to Clients is his business. And I would be watching what he was doing, and I loved it. You know, it is really nice DSLR camera, nice background, and I was like, do you know what? I really want to replicate that. So, and he, like I say, he probably doesn't know it, but he was quite influential on me. Yeah. And I was like, that's the kind of standard. And then I started working with these guys where we are now. You know, to craft a day, you know, mark a day in my calendar a month to do some short form video and put that kind of message, because it, you know, I think video is incredibly important.
It is, and I think you're right. LinkedIn, not many people are utilising video on there. So if you are and you're doing it well, then you're going to stand out. And actually, you've just given me a reminder there that I need to do some video, because I kind of got into it for a while and then I've got out of it again. But I should do it. And what kind of things are you seeing happen when you're posting on LinkedIn? Like what's the good stuff?
Yeah, so opportunity is the main thing. You know, there's people wanting to JV with you, people wanting your advice. And it's hard actually, because I always want to give, like my advice for free. And, you know, that's kind of what LinkedIn is for really, is like, if I can be influential with my advice or what I'm seeing working or my methodology, my principles, you know, that's what that's for. But then you'll often get people DMing you and say, you know, oh, can we jump on a quick call? Can I pick your brain? That kind of thing. And I love to do that stuff, but I'm having to be a little bit more sort of careful with my time. But those chats are where the magic happens. It's not necessarily in posting. It's what you do with it. So like with video, like for instance, we've done video in the past where then I've sent it to a potential client and gone, I've just thought of this, actually. I think you might really benefit from this. So it's become a bit of a BDM strategy as well. And, you know, I think it's just up to you really, and how you know, what you get out of it is what you put in, really. Totally
agree. And, you know, LinkedIn for me tends to be the last piece in the puzzle around that visibility strategy. So it's got to be all the other stuff and you then amplifying it with LinkedIn. What other visibility type activities are you doing or have done that have worked well for you? Because I know you're into podcasting.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love podcasting. I find podcasting just an extension of that video, but also that meeting someone one-to-one and that opportunity to dig deep into a topic. I find speaking on stage is a really good one. It works for me and others, I hope, because that's really where I feel comfortable. Is I'm probably against the grain with a lot of people with that, because I am confident. I do like performing. That's just who I am. And I think I've only really recently become comfortable with that. You know, like I spent years in a rock and metal band, and really? You know, I was the drummer at the back, and
now you're the lead singer.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I say. Kind of like that's kind of like what I say with my business partner. My business partner was actually the lead singer in that rock and metal band.
Drummer.
And now he's the drummer. He definitely keeps the backbeat. That's for sure.
Interesting.
And yeah, it's just where I feel comfortable, and I'm happy with speaking on stage. I'm happy with networking as well. I really like networking when I've got the time to do it, because it is a real time investment, especially if you get the wrong one as well. Like, it's like what we were saying earlier, you know, you've got to be surrounded by the right people, making sure that you're in the right event around the right people. But the good thing is about networking, and just sort of my 2 cents on this. And this was something that a bit of advice I got from a peer. He said it's never about the people in the room; it's about the people they know, because that's how the networking happens naturally. It's like, oh well, I've just had an hour with this guy. He could probably help you do this, and if you've made a lasting impression on someone, which is really important, then opportunity will flow.
Absolutely, that's so helpful. So with the speaking side of things, what is your strategy around that? Are you pitching yourself? Are people coming to you? Are you charging people to speak? Are you doing free stuff? Where are you going? Is it online? Is it in person? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so no, I don't charge to speak. I think there'll be an ROI in the opportunity in who I'm speaking to. So no, I don't charge. Mixture of online and on stage.
You got a preference?
Live. I do like it live, in person. I think you feed off the energy.
You can read
in
the room.
Yeah. See people's reactions. You know, I come from a performing arts background. So reading the audience reaction, whether there be a fourth wall or not, is really, really important, because it's ambient. You can really feel the energy, which sounds a bit woo-woo, but you know, you really can. And the setup makes a difference, you know, as you know, whether or not you've got like a little pokey stage or, you know, it's a big theatre, it doesn't really matter. You feed off the atmosphere that's happening there and then. So live is definitely a preference. Pitch myself. Yeah, pitch myself now. Yeah.
And do you have any strategy around how you follow up after a speaking event, or do you just wait for people to come to you? What happens?
So I've tried all manner of different sort of techniques with it, really. One recently was using scorecards, you know, flinging up a QR code where people can do like a really quick assessment. That was really cool. Some quick leads from that, I think, essentially, you know, people you can just follow up with. It's about data capture from the audience, because as much as, you know, you might get an attendee list, you don't really know who's been listening to you, whereas something like a scorecard it's live and in the moment, and you know those people have just been listening to you and watching it. So, I mean, when you get those attendee lists, you know, using that data essentially to just go, here's something I'm releasing, or here's something I'm talking about, or here's a webinar you might be able to come to. That's quite interesting as well. But it's mainly with the organisers and the other speakers I find quite interesting as well. How, you know, is there an opportunity to collaborate with those people? And yeah, it's just get talking to people.
That is such a great point, because we often have people on Beyond the Bio that are talking about the benefits of speaking and sort of how to get more gigs and stuff. But actually, one of the points that I don't think I've ever really talked about is actually the benefits of networking with the other speakers. And I think that is actually mega. Now that you've said that, it's a bit of a light bulb going off for me there. So I think about the fact that I've spoken at Atomicon a couple of times, although I've always been interviewing people. I quite like to speak myself, but I get invited to their speakers party now each year, which I think is a really cool, nice touch of that they do. And actually the networking that goes on at that and the people that you get to meet each year is really special.
Yeah.
So it's similar, and actually that needs to be part of someone's speaking strategy, is how do you engage with the other speakers, because they're going to be at a certain level. People don't speak at events unless they're, you know, they're known for something and they've got some level of experience and authority.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And around that collaborating, and they will probably have a podcast or an event themselves. So it's leveraging that and making those connections.
Don't get me wrong. I've spoken at some events where, you know, the headline speaker will just come on, do their bit, and then go away. And that's fine. That's their right. You know, that's their, you know, they can do that. I choose not to do that. I like to be there and watch the other speakers as well, learn whatever they're talking about, and, you know, just absorb it. You're there for the event, and how can you take the most away from the event? Because it's an opportunity.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a great opportunity.
It is. That's a really good shout. So thinking about your podcasting now, what kind of benefits has podcasting brought to you?
It's live training. it's getting better. It's how do you get better at talking to people? How do you get better at being curious? How do you get better at, you know, staying on track with the topic that you're talking about whilst veering into the depths of their career or the depths of their project or whatever. And it's just the meeting people. Like, I'm very much a people person. Whether it be in person or online, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I prefer live, but just getting to know someone and like understanding how can you help them, how can they help you, how can you collaborate, how can you stay in touch, how can you follow up. But it's also for the people watching or listening to the podcast as well. What are they getting from it? And I think just that, I very nearly became a teacher.
Really?
Yeah, I really wanted to teach English and drama.
I was going to say, what's your subject?
Yeah,
drama.
And I chose not to do it in the end, purely for pure political reasons. But I still love the idea of teaching. Like, love the idea of, and I guess this kind of comes back to the LinkedIn thing as well. Like, I've had feedback actually on my content, which is it's a little bit too, you're kind of putting stuff out there. You're trying to teach people, but you're not really moving people. And so that's been kind of like top of mind with what I'm doing with my content. It's like, it can be very teacherish, but actually what you've got to do is you've still got to inspire, entertain, and all that kind of stuff. And that's, I'm still learning with all that kind of stuff.
Do you find that your podcast acts as a good business development tool?
Hugely. Massively.
And is that with the guests that you have on, or is it with people listening to the show?
Both. You might have some people that get in contact with you and say that was really good, or just watched it, can't believe how, that, can you put me in touch with that person, and you become the connector. But then people applying to come on the show, so we have an application, because not everybody can come on, unfortunately. Or it might not be the right fit. And
on that point, what is a great pitch to you? Because I get pitched quite a lot as well, and I think it's useful for people listening to know, as a host, what does good look like?
I think you've got to know your story. If you're coming in and you're trying to pitch me your services, or you're not pitching me your services, but pitching your services as a differentiator, that's not cool. That's not you.
Do you get people that pitch a topic that's just completely irrelevant, that you realise they've never watched any of your episodes?
Not yet.
Oh, I get that loads.
I bet you do, actually.
Loads. I get the most random topics, usually from a PR person rather than the potential guest. And I just think, what? So we added a question in our sort of guest form where it says, what is your favourite episode of Beyond the Bio and why?
Nice.
So we thought that was quite clever. But even that, sometimes, you read it and you go, you didn't listen to that episode.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing as well, is like you can totally tell when people have like, there's certain questions, because we use Score App for the application as well, which is really good actually, because you can see the data on the back end. But
that's a good shout.
It's just when people pitch their services, when clearly they have not researched you at all, like, do they even think they'll get on with you? Because, it's not just the hour that we speak, there's like the half an hour before where we're kind of going through the episode potentially. There's the chat afterwards, and that's kind of still got to be quite fluid. And, you got to want that person in the room with you. It's not just about them. It's about how the feeling is.
What would be some standout pitches that you've had? Like, what advice could you give people of things they should include to really impress?
Yeah, I think a bit of your origin story would be nice. Where have you come from? Like, what's got you to this point today? Because that's what I'm interested in. As much as the value comes from how they've grown their business, or, it might be a tactic or a technique or a methodology or whatever it might be. That's the value. But I think what's really interesting is where they've come from. Like, what is it that's inspired you to get to where you are now? Why are you an entrepreneur? Why are you a business owner? Why did you use that technique? Did you learn that from a mentor? Did you learn that from a company you were working in? What's the backstory? Like, what's the meat?
So is the story the personality?
Yeah, absolutely.
And bringing that
personality is huge, by the way. Like, people underestimate their own personality, actually. Yeah. I've met some people who really just undersell themselves. They're just amazing at what they do, and they're really interesting and funny and what have you. Not all prerequisites for a personality, by the way, but and they just really undersell themselves. It's like, no, I'd love you on because I know you've got this really interesting.
No, you're great.
So I quite like pitching for people to come on
I was
as
just
well.
about to ask you that. What's the ratio between you accepting pitches versus you pitching for individuals that you want on the show?
I'd go as far as saying it's 75-25, 75 in favour of me pitching them.
Interesting.
Because I do quite like curation.
Yes.
Like, I do quite like to curate my content. So it's, so I've it's not like a control thing. It's more of, I want to be able to control the standard. So it's like,
and I think that's quite
speak to people I want to speak to
typical,
as well, yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. And then you get more from it. It can be more engaging. Yeah. So actually, those cold pitches, they're unlikely to ever be the biggest source of guests, really, aren't they? So that's why people need to try even harder to come across and pitch themselves in a really. And I do
read every
way.
Single pitch, by the way.
And do you reply to them all?
I will personally reply to them all,
yeah. One of my team would reply to all of them, and we sometimes get a bit pushback when we've politely said no to someone. They don't like it, which is a shame.
Yeah, well, that's just the nature of the beast, really, isn't it? It's like you can't win them all.
So what's next for you in terms of visibility type activities? Have you got a plan? Is it accidental? Do you just go with the flow?
It's definitely not accidental, but I've been working with a friend of mine who has a core story framework business, and it's like business therapy. And for anybody who wants to know about it, they can message me and I'll link them up. But essentially, we've kind of gone through like my origin story, like what the challenges are with what I've found out through business so far, and the transformations we've had for clients, the big, what's my big picture challenges, and brand building as well. And this kind of like my whole origin from being in a band, performing arts, all this kind of stuff, like it's kind of highlighted that my personal brand is mainly around performance. And what is performance? Like, what is that? And confidence, adaptability, being able to persuade and move people, which obviously I'm still working on, but I've always had a knack for performance and wanting to be in front of people, entertaining people, that kind of thing. And I had a realization that performance is in everything that we do. We choose. So as part of that, I'm collaborating with a couple of guys that we both know as well, on a tech product called Social Pitch, which is it has got AI baked into it, but it's AI to optimize the person. So essentially, you interview yourself and you can create multiple pieces of content from it.
Very
but
cool.
It's just about getting other people visible as well with the minimal effort.
And is that available now, or is it coming?
We're launching at the end of June.
Oh, amazing!
So maybe by the time this comes out, it might already be launched.
Yeah.
But we've done quite well to build the product. I can't take any credit for the building of the product, but the shape of it is looking really, really good, and hopefully it will just help those lurkers on LinkedIn to just become a little bit more visible, with just to start talking about them and their business and who they help, why they're doing what they're doing, because I genuinely feel it's not really a game of people knowing you, liking you, and trusting you anymore. I think it's about belief.
Yeah.
They need to believe in you. Like, and this is why I'm so big on video, because I think it's the ultimate connector
I agree.
on digital platform. And I don't think it's any coincidence that, platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts in particular, they're on the rise, because people just love engaging with that visual element. And, I have an opinion on some video content, but yeah, I think it's the ultimate connector, and I think more people should be doing video. I don't like the word should, but they could be doing more video.
More people could benefit from it.
Absolutely, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. Paul, it's been so fun talking to you. If anyone watching or listening isn't connected to you, where's the best place for them to find you? Yeah,
LinkedIn, definitely. LinkedIn is Paul-A-Fernandez. There's lots of Paul Fernandez's apparently.
What?
So I was late for my domain, but LinkedIn mainly, and Instagram as well.
Pop those links in the show notes to make it super easy for you to find Paul. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thanks.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, it would be mint if you could like, subscribe, and leave a review on your favourite platform. See you next week.